Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
And Rob really likes our intro.
I love the intro, man. It's such a bop, as the kids would say. It's a bop.
Ah, as the kids would say.
Yeah, hey.
Oof.
I don't know. I keep hearing people doing that and then going, she, and I'm like, please don't do that. Please,
yeah, I don't
understand.
I don't understand a large portion of what happens in today's realm of
It's the internet
living.
Recycle culture.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're here on YouTube, you're getting a double dose of Reptile Talk this week, which is pretty awesome. So yesterday we were just talking with Aussie Boyds, and tonight I'm super pumped.
This is cool
about this because you guys don't understand. When I was doing YouTube all those years ago, and I started to find this person's videos, I was like, man, he's got some really cool stuff. But it was the introduction that like sealed me in.
Yeah.
And that introduction is, it's Brian Gundy from Forgoodness Snakes.
Hey!
What's up, dude?
I wonder how many times I've said that, right?
Hey, dude, I still get people who are like, you're Jeremy T from J&D Reptiles, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
I gotta tell you, I went out herping, road hunting the other night with a friend of mine, and he's kind of new to all this, and we're out, and we found some people that had just found a rattlesnake or something. So we pulled over and we started talking to him, and then immediately, as one of the kids looked at me, they go, "You're Brian Gundy," and
That's so awesome.
And it's just I don't know even what to say. It's fun. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's
man.
so awesome, man. It really is. I was telling Rob, this is a little while, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was down visiting a friend of mine in my hometown.
Yeah.
And as we're leaving this restaurant, this guy who's walking into the restaurant like double takes, and is like, "You're Jeremy from Nerd," and I was like, "I am 100 miles away from Nerd." Like, how do you know that?
Yeah. Well, now you know why, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's too funny.
Dude, it was literally the weirdest. Like, I expect that at a reptile show, or like if you're around reptile people or whatever. But if anything, it was one of those like, man, you really you don't know who's into the industry and where the reach of the industry has gotten to these days, which is amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with what you guys and people like you are doing, because this is really, it must be accelerating this hobby or our passion into the world of people that don't know about our animals, and so I want to take my hat off to you guys for doing such a good job.
Man, we appreciate
We're
that.
trying.
Most
You're out there
definitely.
doing education too, though, man. Don't sleep on that.
Absolutely.
You see you out there, boots on the ground, teaching people. How do you feel about doing the programs out where you're at? How's it been since COVID?
Oh, it's starting to pick up big time. I have 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. I'm booking programs for schools and summer camps literally almost every day now. So,
wow, that's awesome.
It's all going to come back and everything's going to be fine. So,
awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
That's exciting.
Hell yeah, man. Okay, so for the people who might not know you, which I feel like if anybody is actually like got a heartbeat and existing on any sort of social media, especially YouTube, they've got to know who you are. But for those who might not know who you are and how you got like into reptiles and gotten to yourself where you're at now, can you just give the people like that brief synopsis of it all? Brief or not brief? I mean,
you're talking to the gift of gab here. Nothing's brief. No,
that's perfectly fine.
As a kid, I was into every type of animal you can think of. I had my, just the normal mice, rats, hamsters and stuff, but I also had a raccoon as a pet and a possum and a great horned owl and a red-tailed hawk and lots of, I competitively raced pigeons for 25 years. I was a vet tech for 9 years. I worked with an exotic veterinarian. So I've worked with mountain lions and cheetahs and African lions and wolves and chimps. And about 30 years ago, I started the business called Forgoodness Snakes. And at that time, I was breeding and selling colubrids. This is about 30 years ago. And I was getting burnt out. I was producing about 350 colubrids a year back in the Bob, Applegate era and Lloyd Lemke and all those guys. And I was getting burnt out, and I thought, I was looking at some photographs or some reptile magazine one day, and I saw photographs, the first photograph I ever saw of a pied. And I thought, I'm going to take all the money I'm going to get from selling that in my colubrid collection and then just turn it around and get right back into ball pythons. And that's what I did.
There you go.
Progressively worked from there. And about 10 years ago, I got laid off my job after working 30 years at the same company. And I was a manufacturing manager and felt sorry for myself for a couple days, and then started thinking, well, I wonder if I can turn my hobby into a business that will actually pay me enough money to pay my bills. And so that's when I started going out and doing the educational presentations and going out and doing cold calls, just walking into a school office. When I first started doing it, I'd walk into an office unannounced, uninvited, with a ball python wrapped around my neck.
Oh my goodness.
And that's how I started, but that's not how I do it these days. But people that were in the office, real quick, when you're walking into a school office, if you've got friends or foes, it's either they're walking towards you when they figure out, they read the hat, they read the shirt, and they're going to do the math, and either they walk toward me or they sometimes literally run literally with chairs hitting the ground and everything, hysterically running out of the office. So it's just been a blast. I'm having a blast. I'm doing my reptile programs. I'm probably going to have about 15 or 18 clutches this year. So I'm not a big breeder, but I totally focus in on the highest quality animals that I can produce. And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Wow. Heck yeah, man. I think one of the trademark things that you've had going on with ball pythons has been the Goldblush stuff.
Sure.
So can I, because I don't even think I really know, but what was the origin of the Goldblush Mojave stuff? Where did that kind of originate?
When I first started with ball pythons, one of my first purchases was from Dan and Colette Sutherland. And I was really lucky. I was able to hand pick my first Mojave from them. And I personally think, that because Colette, through the years, and Colette and Dan go way back, and there was a time when Colette was producing some of the finest looking normal ball pythons around, and sometimes their prices were even $300 to $500 for a normal. And so I think personally that I must have picked something up from that purchase. And through the years of breeding that line of Mojaves, I started picking out normals that didn't look like normals, but they were normals. And it never dawned on me that a normal, I don't think at the time, specials were around. I don't think, yellow bellies weren't around, and so you didn't think too much of a normal having a genetic trait, or a normal looking ball python having a genetic trait. Right. So through the course of time, I would just start noticing that in this particular clutch, I'd end up having these normal babies that were just exquisitely bright and yellow and just really nice. And then they had these yellow dots underneath their nostrils that were pretty obvious, and you wouldn't see that in any other normals. So I started kind of hand picking those normals out, and progressively through the course of time, proved that it was a genetic trait. I was actually, able to reproduce the Goldblush, and then started, infiltrating it in the whole collection, and that's pretty much where it is now. And it's, now I'm got to the point where, I should be producing pieds and clowns, Goldblush pieds and clowns and orange dreams and whatever. I'm just mixing it into everything. It's about ready to explode is what I'm saying.
Cool.
I dig that so much. And that's, we've talked about that a few different times on the podcast, where like those subtle traits and line bred kind of polygenic things, like for ball pythons, that boat kind of got missed because of how fast mutations started coming in. And then when people started realizing, oh, you can just stack all these things and make these really cool looking animals, the thought process of line breeding, which really comes into play a lot with colubrids and leopard geckos and like all of that stuff, we just missed the boat on that with ball pythons almost totally. So it's cool that you've spent the time on this project and really developed it, and now are able to get it into some of these other classic mutations.
I was pursuing the project, at one time, the animal that I had basically pulled out of, and to hold back and to continue the Goldblush project, then it died. So I had to wait another 2 years to find another Goldblush within my collection and hold it back, grow it up. So now it's to isolate the gene trait, it's things like that. It's been but now I'm actually producing babies from Goldblush females. So that's working out great.
That's absolutely awesome, man.
That's really cool.
Yeah, seriously, kudos to you for going through on that, because so many other people just be like, let me go buy some $20,000 snake and just make more, $20,000 snakes.
Yeah. Well, it was here in the collection, and it really is a nice enhancer gene trait, and so for that reason, it wasn't like I had to go out and buy it. So I just started utilizing it and bringing it into the collection, or even more, and just infiltrating it. So that just about everything at this point has gold. Everything that's been in my collection, from the beginning, as far as holdbacks and things like that, it's almost everything has Goldblush in it now.
That's freaking awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So is there another, I mean, obviously you've got ball pythons, but is there another species of reptile that you breed on any sort of like larger level, or is it like just on the ball pythons these days?
Yeah, I'm just breeding ball pythons. I did, I started out with colubrids and loved them, and I still love them. And then I was into boas for a while, and I still love them. But I'm not a very good boa breeder. So I produce more slugs than anybody I know,
Yeah.
when it comes to boa breeding. So I just basically got out of it. But yeah, it's the ball pythons.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. Is there a trait that has caught your eye recently that you're like, man, I want to kind of dabble in that a little bit?
Well, I'm a little late in the project, but Desert Ghost is obviously a great place to be, Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, I want to get special into my projects, and, some more enhancing genes. And, everything I'm working with is pied and clown. So I'm just mixing and matching, and hopefully we'll start to produce some things that, I've never seen before anyway. And that's really what my goal is. Whether it's been produced by somebody else, I don't know. But if I have not seen it, either a photograph or whatever, and I produce it, that's super exciting.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Okay. I know that Rob wants to totally talk about this topic too, which is great. But
okay, go for
it. We've got to talk about field herping.
I was just gonna say we can't just do this without talking about some field herping right now. I'm just saying.
I've seen some videos, and I've heard from some potentially reputable sources that that you're kind of like the guy for some field herping stuff.
Sensei of
Yeah,
the West Coast.
I go I go almost every day.
That's awesome. I'm very envious.
And I see animals, snakes, and a lot of other animals. But yeah, to me, it's all about getting out in nature. And, I'm not just herping. I'm looking for birds of prey. I'm looking for mountain lions. I'm looking for bobcats, coyotes, anything that's kind of out there, as far as over the top, as far as animals go. Predatory animals, I'm really into for some reason. I'm really into predatory animals, and the mountain lion is really the one that's on the bucket list. So that's really my focus these days. But yeah, I'm out herping all the time.
Yeah, I just got back from a trip from Utah, like Southwest Utah, not too long ago. And when I was out there with all those guys, I was literally like, man, I don't know if I could live out here, because I would just spend all of my time field herp. Like every day I'd be out there field herping, just looking for stuff. I don't know if I could because up here where we're at, there's 5 months out of the year where you cannot find everything's hibernating. Everything's underground.
I can find snakes throughout the year.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, I envy that.
I'm very envious.
And what's nice about it is I can, hit the road about 9 o'clock in the morning and do a couple of, places and do what I call the circuit, where I'll just go out and hike out about 2 miles. And while doing my 2 mile circuit, I'm out there. I've got my boards, I've got my pieces of sheet metal or whatever. And I'm just out there flipping, and I can be home by, 11 o'clock or something like that for lunch but yeah,
I see a bunch of different species.
I don't know if you guys saw the video I put on Instagram yesterday, I think it was, of the gravid Northern Pacific rattler I found.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one.
It was huge.
Dang.
That's awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
And a friend of mine and I went road herping the other night and took off the road probably 8 or 10 Northern Pacific rattlesnakes and a couple of California kings.
Oof. That's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
We found a garter snake yesterday.
I saw garter snakes. I know. When we were out there field herping and we're road cruising and stuff, and we kept finding the Crotalus lutosus, the Great Basin rattlesnakes, and they're like, after the fourth one, they're like, we shouldn't even pull over for them. And I was like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah. I go out there just road hunting. If I think I must be saving the world of snakes just by going out and pulling one off the road.
Moving them. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do. I just, because I'm not bringing anything home. I just take pictures, video, So I figure I'm out there saving the rattlesnakes or saving the cow kings from being smashed.
Yeah, we saw a couple animals that had been hit by cars, and it's like, if we had been there 5 minutes earlier, we could have caught this beautiful big cow king, or
Right.
Yeah. Man, I'm very envious. And it's so funny because that's really, road cruising is a huge part of the herping culture out there. Whereas out here, you can't road cruise anything. You go out at night, you won't see anything unless it's raining. You'll see frogs and maybe salamanders in spring and fall, but that's it. Up here, you cannot road cruise stuff. You have to go into the woods or in edge habitat or stuff like that. And
If
go
we have
boards and stuff.
If we have a 90+ degree day with no moon, that's when we're going out. And it's amazing how much that moon has to do with the success of finding snakes. Years ago, I would have said, no, that's not right. But I have gone out a few times when the temperatures are perfect and there's a full moon, just nothing. And I don't know if they instinctively know that that's not a good time for them to be crawling around. But we don't even go out on a full moon. Don't just waste our time.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If you guys find yourselves out herping again, just anticipate if you're working with a full moon that you're probably going to have to work pretty hard.
Noted.
Yes.
Duly noted.
That's something that what is it? That Eric from NPR always talks about is moon cycles and field herping and stuff. If you think about it, a lot of the predatory animals like owls and other things that might be hunting at nighttime, they probably are going to have much better eyesight on the nights that are full moons because there's just that little bit of extra light that
Exactly.
can make a huge difference. And
then you have to wonder if the animals that are being preyed upon somehow know that it's too bright for them to be out. It's hard for me to imagine that a snake would, or a lot of other animals would have that type of intelligence, but who am I to say, you know?
Yeah.
I bet you there is some sort of rhythm in their biology. You know, they have some sort of circadian rhythm that affects that because, you know, they probably have certain moon cycles that go through how long between hibernation and emergence and all that sort of different stuff. And it's just something that they naturally feel being tuned into the earth.
They've been doing it for a while, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
is there anything that's like your favorite thing to find? Is there anything that when you find it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm super.
Oh yeah. Well, there's two really.
Okay.
Cow kings are fun to find because they're just there's so much, you know, it's black and white. It's just so much contrast. But number one for me is the Zanata, is the mountain king snake.
Yes.
Right, the tricolored mountain king snake.
Oh,
it's to find one of those. I've only found 4 or 5 in my whole life. And there's only one place where I have been able to find them. So that's one of the places I go almost on a day-to-day basis. And, you know, here I am, you know, probably been looking for these guys seriously for 10 years, almost daily. And I've only found 4.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's my favorite is the Zanata. It's just a beautiful tricolored mountain king snake that you just can't believe that you're, you know, it's an animal that you're looking at. You can't believe your eyes. You know, it's just such eye candy. You know.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Awesome. That's kind of how I feel about timber rattlesnakes up here, since they're endangered, and there's very few places where you can actually see them. So I've gone to a few different spots, and I've been like, when I lived close to the area, I would go out 3, 4, 5 times a week looking for them, and I only ever found one. And I was over the moon when I found that one, but like every other time that you go out there and it's just nothing and nothing and nothing, and you're looking like, that's a good spot, it looks like it would hang out here, and nothing. It's just
another one for me would have to be the San Francisco garter snake.
Ooh, yeah.
I was just at where I find them. I was there yesterday looking for them and didn't see one at all.
Man,
but
it's crazy because like a species like that feels so exotic from being here on the East Coast. You know what I mean? And it's like, garter snake, you know, they're okay, you know, but like over there, it's like, no, look at this. It's like the craziest garter snake you've ever seen. And it's like, doesn't even register that.
And the experience of finding them in the wild is just so, to me, it just enhances the experience and the fun of the whole, you know, of that you know, adventure of catching or finding those snakes. And, you know, San Francisco garter snakes are on the endangered species list, and to have them so rare and so beautiful is just it's a double whammy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man. Okay. So wait, so I have to bring this up because I think it was Brian Cusco who mentioned this.
Brian
Brian Cusco.
I'm just kidding.
Damn. Owned. Brian's doing another podcast right now, so I'm gonna make sure if they're still going when we're done, I jump on and be like, hey, who the fuck is this guy?
Don't tell him I said that. He knew. He knows I wouldn't say that too.
No, so Brian was telling me that he had gone field herping with you. I don't remember how long ago it was, but like you like dove down somewhere and like popped back up, and like both hands were like full of snakes. Where the hell is that, Brian?
You know, when I took those guys, and him and Kaufman, I took those guys out herping. I said, you know, guys, it's probably best that you guys walk behind me, because when I see an animal and where I'm finding the San Francisco garter snakes, I know there are no rattlesnakes. So I don't have to take that, you know, the nanosecond to figure it out. Is it a rattler or is it not? And if it's not, I'm airborne. So I just suggest that people walk behind me, because if I see something and I'm going for it. I'll sacrifice. I mean, you should see sometimes I come up with bloody legs, bloody arms, but I got that snake. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just saying I need to witness this in real life.
I'm here for
That's
it.
all I'm saying.
In fact, I remember when I was with Kaufman and Brian, and or maybe it was with Garrett Hartle and Brian, and we were out herping, and I went airborne, and Brian said to Garrett, "Hey, did you get that on video or whatever?" You know, because here you've got this 80-year-old dude out there jumping on the ground catching snakes.
That's so awesome.
It'll be a sad day when I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. Man.
If that's not me when I'm your age, I'm gonna be very upset.
Yeah, the same.
And feel free, if you guys ever find yourselves out here in the San Francisco Bay Area, I'll show you my spots. Just let me know. You know,
man.
Hell yeah.
I think that needs to be a trip.
I think it sounds like a trip.
I'm just saying, sounds like a trip.
I'm so excited for things to start opening up so I can start traveling again, because after I went to Utah, now I'm like, I gotta go field herping. I gotta go do some things. I gotta go check things out, because like we were in a spot where we could see, you know, Pyromelena and like a bunch of different other stuff.
Wow.
And we're looking around and Gila monsters and all that sort of stuff.
In Utah?
Yeah, like way southwest Utah, like the very southern west corner.
I have there. Yeah.
And after finding some of those things, I was like, man, I need to go to some place where I can find Willardi and Melosas. I need to see more rattlesnakes. Cerberus. I need to see them.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that, you know, I see rattlesnakes almost every time I go herping, but I honestly hope I never see another one.
Really? Oh, no. I love them so much.
I actually got bit by a rattlesnake about 30 years ago, and
oh, wow.
Went into a coma for 3 days and almost died.
Damn.
So I'm just, you know, I'm very respectful of them.
Yeah.
You're the white bird.
Good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I you know, I say hello, I take pictures, I take video, and I say goodbye, and that's it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
That's fair.
But there are many times, you know, you guys obviously know Nick the Wrangler, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Nick, you know, he's out there catching these rattlesnakes in his, you know, field herping, and he's you know, he's catching them in his hands, and he's got them laying in his hands. And I'm thinking, you know, one of these days, something's going to go wrong. And I hope he's okay, you know.
He can just rebrand. He could be Nick the one-hand wrangler.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Rebrand him, right?
I want royalties on that, Nick. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. So is there a place that that you haven't gotten to field herp yet, either in California or elsewhere, that you're like, man, I need to at some point get out there?
No. I would love to get out into the Mojave Desert more, because the cow kings that are the desert phase cow kings are much brighter black and much brighter white.
Yeah.
And, because I used to be a colubrid breeder, and I used to do cow kings. That's kind of that would be a fun thing to just catch an amazingly gorgeous black and white cow king in the wild. Yeah. But other than that, you know, the Bay Area is such an amazing place to find all sorts of different types of animals. Not only snakes, but I have the Zonadas right here, the Mountain Kings. I have the San Francisco garter snakes. I have rubber boas. It's all right here. I just rattlesnakes. There's nothing driving me to move outside the area.
I dig that.
I dig it.
I dig that. That must be nice.
Yeah, I look at everywhere else.
Driven to go other places to find, you know, like a pyro or something like that, even though they're gorgeous. But I'm happy right here.
That's cool.
That's cool, man.
That's cool. Because I mean, I like some of the stuff that we've got around here, but I feel like there's so much more diversity elsewhere that I just would really like to get out there and see some more of the diversity that's out there. Because when I went to Utah, we were catching horned toads and Gila monsters,
and we have horned toads right here in the area.
That's awesome.
There's a coastal horned toad that lives right here in the Bay Area. Very
so
rare to
crazy.
find. But I've caught one years and years ago. But
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That is
that's
pretty
like
awesome.
huge I mean, the other night, a friend of mine and I went out herping. We found 12 Northern Pacific rattlers, 3 or 4 cow kings, a glossy snake, a couple of gopher snakes, and we have long nose at the same herping
Oh, yeah.
place that goes. So there's a lot of diversity right here, right within half a mile or half hour from my house.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we don't have much diversity.
Yeah, no, we have
in New England. It's a
snake or
it's a challenge. I mean, so we have no lizards. Yes, we have no lizard species.
Oh, really?
Yeah, none whatsoever. So that's why, like, when we went to Florida, we're like geeking out over little anoles because it's like a lizard, a freaking lizard. It's awesome.
Are you guys familiar with the Skilton's skink? The blue-tailed skink?
The blue-tailed skink, yeah.
Like 5 lines or?
Yeah, no, it's not a 5 line, but it sort of looks. You could mistake it for a 5 line.
Okay.
The immature phase of that lizard has a beautiful blue tail, and they're just amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the kind of stuff I want.
Bellies and things like that, but there's one of my favorites. But if you look at them wrong, their tails will fall off. So
when I went to Arizona, the band of geckos that I found, the first one I caught, its tail like immediately snapped, and then after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to touch him. I'll just take a picture of him on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt so bad.
Yeah, no, I feel really bad. If it's an I very rarely will catch blue bellies these days, but I almost always will catch an alligator lizard if I find one.
Ooh,
oh yes,
those are so cool.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I saw one the other day that was close to probably 15 inches long.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I couldn't catch it, but it was one of the biggest one I've seen in many years.
That's really cool. You got to wonder how old those particular animals are when they're like exceptionally big for their species.
Right.
Yeah. Damn.
That'd be so cool.
Man, we got to go herping, Rob. We got to go herping. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm all geeked to go field herping.
Come on out, you guys.
Hell yeah.
I'll give you the tour.
We got to do it before the airplane prices go.
Oh my gosh, it's already happening.
I know.
Everything else. Huh?
It's already happening. I'm supposed to be in the North Carolina area in about a week or so. And when I was originally trying to finalize flights and everything, I was like, why does it cost almost double for the same flight?
Yep.
That I was taking before? So I'm like, it's literally, even with gas prices being higher, it's still cheaper for me to just drive. And as much as I don't want to spend that long in a car.
And how much worse is it going to get?
Yeah, no, I know exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna need the airlines to figure out what the heck they're doing, because I ain't spending $500 to go to California when it used to cost me $225 round trip. Oh man, that's awesome though. Field herping needs to happen.
Are there any bigger expos that you're planning on going to?
Expos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll be at Sacramento in, when is it? I want to say maybe August or September.
Okay.
I'm probably only going to do about 3 shows around here. I only do the shows in the Bay Area. I don't travel. If I do travel, it's only like 100 miles or so. And because there are usually 3 or 4 or 5 shows in the Bay Area on an annual basis, I really don't have to go anywhere else. And again, I don't have a huge collection, so if I sell 20 snakes, that might be sold. I might be sold out by then.
Yeah. That's one thing that people don't think about. If they're if they're not going completely all in on the reptiles thing, they're like, oh, I'm gonna make my collection and do some clutches, and then we're gonna go to all the expos. And it's like, if you sell all your babies before you get to the expo, what are you gonna do for the expo?
Yeah, and sometimes I even hold back some of the babies so that I will have animals at the expo, because I love the expos. They're it's just like Christmas to me. Because I get to see all my friends and make new friends. Yeah, it's just a blast.
That's awesome.
That definitely is one of my favorite parts of expos these days, especially as like we were saying at the start of this all, like the industry is expanding at such a crazy rate, you know, and these expos really serve as that, you know, get to meet these people moments, you know, when especially over the last year, there's really been no person to person anything, you know, so it's that's definitely an element of the industry that I'm excited for kind of coming back into play on a more frequent basis.
Sure.
So yeah, I gotta get to those expos, dude.
I think that when I was younger, I definitely was like, I gotta be that guy behind the table. I really want to be the vendor. I really want to do that. And then now as I've gotten older, I'm like, man, I just want to go to the expo and hang out and talk to people. I'm like, I'd much rather not vend and work. I'd rather just talk to people and look at all the animals and stuff, because when I'm behind the table, I'm like looking around. I'm like, is there a minute where I can go look around and see what other animals everybody's got? I just want to see what's around at the expo.
And most vendors have a hard time doing that, you know, because we're stuck at our tables, you know. But the relationships, the interaction between people, and it's just, you know, it's like coming back to a big family reunion every time I go, especially the ones that are local, you know, because a lot of the local shows I've been doing for the last 25 years. So some of these people I've known for 25 years, and I've watched their children grow up, and some of them are now, you know, have grandchildren. And so it's not only just a sort of an outside relationship, but it's a community, Bay Area community type thing also that we get to experience.
That's awesome. I really dig that. Man, that really just for me is what the expos really are all about. You know, like I think we hear it a lot when we go to Tinley. It's like the two annual family reunions that happen, you know, and it's like, man, and it's interesting when you can get into an area like exactly what you described in the Bay Area, because a lot of times the smaller communities, because those shows usually don't happen very often, you know, like, I mean, I think about like the New Hampshire show up here used to only happen twice a year, you know, so it's not really you know, you see somebody and then they're generally not ever showing up again, or you're not going to see them for 6 months, or they're not doing that show, so you only see them once a year for 10 minutes, you know. But to get into that kind of zone where it's like, no, you know what, we see each other enough where, you know, you can establish that relationship with them, and that man, there's nothing better than that, man. You know, geeking out about reptiles with other reptile geeks, you know, that's what it's about.
And then when I do the local shows, so not only do I have animals on the table for sale, but I have animals crawling all over the place so that people can pick them up and enjoy them, because I'm also promoting the program side of the presentation side of my business. I'm able to do sort of both at the same time.
That's awesome too. Is there one education experience that over the years has like really stood out to you the most, like, or was the most impactful for you?
Well, this is going to sound kind of strange for some people, maybe. One of the most memorable moments I've ever had was I just finished doing preschool or elementary school or something. And I'm packing up the animals, and the kids are getting ready. You know, the teachers are getting the kids ready to go back to their classroom or something. And this little girl comes up to me, and she puts her arms around my waist or around my legs and gives me the biggest hug in the world. And she goes, "I love you." After doing my educational presentation with the reptiles. And it was just, you know, it was just so genuine. It was, so that's definitely one of my favorite moments. And we did a program for Google. We did their Christmas party at the Fairmont. At the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco for 750 people. And
oh my gosh!
And I videotaped it. It's on YouTube. And it was a 4-hour meet and greet, and it was just a blast.
Wow,
that's insane, dude.
Yeah, and people think that children are really the greatest audiences when it comes to snakes and herps and stuff. Not even close. It's the adults that are they're just crack you up because they're just like they're adult kids, and most of them are scared to death. They've been brainwashed. They're going to get killed and bit and strangled and whatever. And to watch these adults, Google employees, some of them VPs and stuff, they're just, you think they were going to pee their pants,
They're like,
so
quick, use us and figure out if this is dangerous or not.
So that was definitely one of the favorites too.
That's funny.
That's insane. 750 people.
I know. I've never done a program.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, it was great, and it was a meet and greet, so it was just continuous. They had me in a
cycle of people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they had a photo area where they, sat down and we draped the albino berm over them, couples and things like that. And they had a professional photographer that was handing out photographs and stuff. And it was a lot of fun.
That's really cool.
That is awesome. Yeah. Kudos to you, Google.
Yeah, man. Awesome. That first story that you told reminds me of a tour that I had probably a little over a year ago, where it was a little girl who was like really into reptiles in her family. Yeah. And so we go through and we're showing them, some reticulated python, some ball python, some water monitors. And she is like in it. She's like, no, I want to hold everything. And I'm like, the monitors kind of got sharp claws. So and she's like, no, I'll hold them.
I see it all the time.
And then right at the end of the tour, her mom was like, did you have a good time? And she's like, when I grow up, I'm going to have a whole room full of snakes. And her mom was like, oh, and she's like, wait, no, I'm not going to have a room full of snakes. And her mom was like, you're not going to have a room full of snakes? And she said, no, I'm going to have a house full of snakes. And I was like, oh my God. This girl was like 7 years old.
And she probably will, right?
she's going to. She's going to. Because she was like, oh, I watch Emily from Snake Discovery and I watch Brian and Nerd and all these things. And she's like, I can't wait until I can have my whole house full of snakes. And I was like, yes, you can come back whenever you want.
That's
oh, man.
It's so cool to see people that are that young that are just like, this is what I want to do. Yeah, I remember being that kid.
Yeah. And it's funny, at the beginning of my program, when I start sort of the audience participation segment of my program, I will usually if I'm doing a birthday party, I'll bring the birthday child up in front of the audience and start just, working with the child so that we can, between the child and I, can teach the rest of the audience how to handle the animals, how gentle they are, whatever. So I start draping snakes. We start out with the 5 or 6 year old kid with a snake or ball python, holding it with his two hands. And then we go from there and we start draping snakes. So before you know it, this little kid's got 3 ball pythons wrapped around his shoulders. And he's got one in his arms. And some of the kids are as calm and relaxed as could be with these snakes, and mom and dad are out there freaking out.
Yeah, of course. Like, oh my God.
But by the end of my programs, the way I've designed the program, by the end of the program, almost every single person is just as calm. They're picking up snakes, they're picking up Burmese python. It's just a blast to see that transformation, and that's the thrill for me.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about doing programs is seeing somebody who at the beginning of the program is like, oh, I can't do it. They just they are so tense and there's nothing relaxed about them. And at the end of the program, you see them like holding a ball python, like looking at it and being like, wow, these things are actually really cool. Sure. And just that it's crazy that in 1 hour you can take someone from being terrified to appreciating something.
Yeah. I have a memory where there was probably an 18-year-old woman in the audience, and she was in the back of the audience. And I can tell just by their body language which ones are scared to death and which ones are not. Right.
Yep.
So by the end of the program, and this woman was literally shaking. She was scared, and it was obvious to the whole audience that she was just having a tough time. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the program, she's got a snake wrapped around her neck and she's kind of hugging on it and kissing it and whatever. And she goes to her mom. She goes, Mom, now I know what you can get me for my next birthday. or something.
Yes.
Hell
It's
yeah.
a snake, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's if I can make that happen, then that makes my day. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever had any like older people come in and be like, you know, I was afraid of these things my whole life, and you just completely changed my mind?
Almost every time, almost
Yeah.
every program. Yeah.
I had a couple.
And I hope to hear that kind of stuff because, you know, it's really, you know, I don't get into the physiology. I don't get into reproduction. You know, I'm not trying to get there to educate them on the anatomy of reptiles or anything like that. To me, my job is to take the fear out of the whole experience. And if I can do that, then, you know, if I can create recreate a person to have a little bit better understanding, well then, hey, that's all I can ask for, you know.
Absolutely. It's so funny because Zoo Creatures, our pet store, is open to the public, so we get like a lot of people that come in there. We used to have like puppies and kittens and birds and all this different stuff, but we kind of shifted more towards reptiles. But even over the last 4 years, I had a lot of people who come in who just like come in to buy their cat or dog food there, and they'll come over to the reptile room and just look around, and you can just see the people who are all tense and their arms are crossed and they're just like, it's gross. And I always love to go to those people and I'm like, look, what can we do to get you to touch a snake right now? What can we get to get you to hold the snake? And even if they won't hold it, even just getting them to pet it and touch it, is a win for me. And I had a woman come in and she's like, oh, I'm fine with the snakes. I'm fine with the lizards, but oh my goodness, tarantulas, spiders, I cannot do. And she's like, ever since I was a young girl, I was afraid of spiders. I've been afraid of them my whole life. And she's like, I don't think that you're going to be able to change my mind. And within probably 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I got her to hold the tarantula. And she's like, I don't know why I was afraid of these things. It's so, and it's soft and so cool. It's just amazing.
Yeah, when you get to see that switch go off.
Oh yeah.
That's when you just know you got them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much fun. Like I said, I get to do one tomorrow and then 2 on Sunday. So, you know, it's like, I'm looking forward to it so much. And I look forward to it every single time I do them because I know exactly what I'm going to experience. And a lot of times now what I do is I'm kind of, you know, as you do these programs, and I've done hundreds of them, you still try to improve on what you do, what you say or whatever to make that transition more easier. But so what I've been doing now is I've been telling my audiences that, you know, at the beginning of the program, I'll just say, if you like puppies, you know, raise your hand and most people like puppies, right? So, and I'll just tell them that if you like puppies, you're going to love snakes. And as I say that, I'm actually kissing the snake.
Yeah.
And so I'm portraying this, you know, weird dude that kisses snakes as soon as I begin the program. And it starts from there. It's just, you know, and I don't want the kids to be kissing the snakes, you know?
Yeah.
But that seems to be one of the things that's working toward getting them to transition is that these animals are just super, super gentle.
One of the things that I like to tell people, because a lot of people are like super hesitant of that first touch and they're like, it's going to be slimy. It's going to be. And the thing that I've gone to now is I usually tell people, look, it feels just like an iPhone. And then they go, and I'm holding an iPhone in my hand right now. And they're like, it does not feel like an iPhone. And then they touch it and they're like, okay, it kind of feels like an iPhone. and because they've got that association with, oh, I like my phone. I touch my phone all the time. If it feels like my phone, then it's not bad. And then they touch it and they're like, oh, that feels just like that.
Yeah.
It's that slimy thing that most people have been bought into, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then once they get that first touch in there, then you get their hand underneath part of it, and then after that, it's all over.
It's a wrap. Oh yeah, it's a wrap.
It's all about the touch. If I can get everybody to touch the snake or whatever, a lizard or whatever, it's all about the touch. And that's why at the end of my programs, I just let all my animals go. And everyone that wants to just picks up everything and what they just, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, beforehand conversation that's going on to make sure they don't touch their heads and they're not staring into their faces and that, you know, things like that. But no pinching, pulling, or squeezing, you know. But but yeah, it's a blast. Definitely.
That's so awesome.
I love that.
That's Man, that's setting it up for the future, man.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
Dude, it really is, because there's a lot of people who talk a lot of smack online, and they're like, well, this person's not doing education right, this person's not education right, and it's like, well, what are you doing to teach people? And they're not. They're at home arguing with people on Facebook or on YouTube or on blah blah blah, and they're not actually doing programs. They're not actually out there changing people's lives. They're just talking smack on the internet. That's what it boils down to.
I figured that I've presented for over 50,000 children. Now, I'm not even counting adults, but we think that we've done programs for over 50,000 children.
That's incredible.
And we've not had a single issue as any injuries, bites, or anything. None.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things for me, like I certainly haven't been doing education stuff as long as the both of you have, but when I was doing stuff like that, like as we were just saying, like the touch element of the educational program is arguably the most important part when you're trying to get the mind to change, you know. And
I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see, because you can talk to people until you're blue in the face about how wonderful these animals are, and you know how chill they are and whatever, but that's really, at least in my experience, when you see that switch go off, when that finger touches even if it's like the tip of the tip, you get that one person that's like
and then to be able to take that touch to the next level, and then reach out and drape a pied over some kid's neck. And it's just like, wow, it's just, and then to have mom standing there and wondering how in the world her 4-year-old son is being so calm with a snake wrapped around his shoulders. And that's just,
that's also the best ammo too. It's like, hey mom, listen,
if the
4-year-old's doing it, come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I love that.
Take as much ammo as you can get. Come on, mom, hold the damn snake. Oh man,
it's funny because you'll see that during the bigger programs where you'll see like these 3-year-olds come up and they're holding a ball python and like petting it and touching it and everything, and you'll see someone who's an adult in the back of the room like shaking, and you're like, okay, why are you shaking but this child is like loving this snake? Why are you afraid but they're not?
And that actually when I do the programs for the schools and stuff, and it actually helps to transition the adults into it, because the adults are watching all these kids walking around with snakes over their shoulders, so they must be able to do it too, you know. And
exactly.
Exactly.
It's before you get that level of the learned fear.
You
know.
I call it brainwashing.
Pretty much.
I mean, think about it. You know, culturally speaking, most societies have an internal fear of snakes. You know, and most cultures do, and some of them are just deathly afraid of them, you know.
Which is it really is crazy, because it's like, man, if you took 5 minutes to like research what a snake does, like you'd be like, that's not that bad.
Yeah, but Jeremy, most people don't have that level of interest. You know, think about it.
This is true. Yeah.
As a society, there's only 2 to 4% of the people, have reptiles or whatever it is. Have you guys heard those numbers?
It's growing.
It's
growing though.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I know it's growing in the Bay Area.
That's right.
Do you guys have a local herb society out there, or is there like?
We have. There was one that just broke up recently. There's nothing here in the Bay Area. There's a few North Bay up by Sausalito, up north of Golden Gate Bridge. And then there's one, I think, over kind of by where Freedom Breeder is in the Lodi area. There's a group out there too.
Okay.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Oh man. Okay. So Brian, we're rounding down our time here, but before we do that, and I think I might already know the answer to this, but maybe I won't. So who knows? So we ask all of our guests one final culminating question. So that question is, what in the realm of reptiles, be it something in your own collection, something you've seen while you're scrolling through the internet, because that's all our lives were reduced to for a really long time. What in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles?
I would say the Pied Clown Project.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
wherever you can think of taking that, and you just use your imagination of how many different avenues you can take that. But that for me right now is the pinnacle, and that's where I'm moving all of my everything, all of the directions I'm going is toward that project or that combo.
Yeah,
cool.
And hopefully, later on through the seasons, we'll end up with 6 or 7 gene combos, but 2 of them being pied and clown.
Heck yeah, that would be awesome. That would also be amazing odds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Interesting.
What are you thinking?
I love pied clown, so I'm here for it.
Oh yeah,
I want to get one eventually, because back in the day when I had bought my first bumblebee for like $800 and was looking at like what would be the coolest ball python morph combo I could think of, super pastel pied clown was like the thing that I talked to all my friends. I was like, when I see super pastel pied clown, that's going to be the coolest ball python morph, and no one's going to be able to top it. I still feel similarly. That's all I'm saying.
I have a pastel pied clown. Does that work?
Those are cool too. I was just thinking because like pied, when it doesn't have pastel, can be a little bit on the darker side.
Yeah.
So you put pastel in there, it brightens things up. And so I just went.
And I'm looking forward to bringing, Orange Dream into the Pied Clown Project.
Ooh,
and
yes.
Definitely Enchi in there, and
oh yeah,
Leopard
and Goldblush.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah,
absolutely.
That's me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we after talking with Ozzy yesterday on where like some of the clown pied and pied combos and stuff are going, I'm like, oh, we're not ready for the insanity that the next few years has to offer us.
Yeah,
for real.
These guys are gonna definitely take it to the next level. That's for sure. They already have.
Yeah. Oh man, sheesh. All right, Brian. So if people want to find out more about you, if they want to check out what you got going on, where can they find you?
Sure. I'm mostly on Instagram these days. I'm not doing YouTube much, and that's just much easier for me to do. And you can call me at 408-981-6694. You can email me at fgsnakes@sbcglobal.net. And if you're a beginner reptile person and you're having some troubles getting started, and you think you might be able to, if it makes sense that you think I might be able to help you guys, please just reach out and I'll help out any way I can. You don't have to buy my snakes. You don't have to do anything. I'm here to help.
What a guy.
Boom. Damn.
Awesome.
Thank you, man. We seriously appreciate hanging out with you, man. It's been a blast. We definitely have to have you back at some point.
Again, thank you guys for doing what you guys do too.
Oh, we appreciate it, man.
You, man.
And we're gonna have to, maybe plan a trip to the Bay Area for some field herping.
Just bring it out.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, Brian. Well, thank you so much, man. We really do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.
Take care, man.
All right, you guys do the same. Take care.